November 17th, 1944. Northeastern France. Cold rain lashes the forests near Bitcha as the 100th Infantry Division pushes forward, mud clinging to their boots, rifles slick with water. Private John McMillan trudges through the gloom, his M1 Garand slung across his chest, eyes scanning the ridge ahead. The men have been told to expect scattered German resistance, maybe a few pillboxes, perhaps a fortified farmhouse. What they find instead is something far stranger. A sudden rumble echoes beneath their feet. Not artillery, deeper, mechanical, like the heartbeat of the earth itself. The platoon freezes. Then ahead in the mist, McMillan spots it. A steel door carved into the hillside, massive and scarred, half hidden behind tangled brush and moss. "Captain, you'd better see this," he calls out, voice wavering. Captain Samuel Larkin approaches, flashlight trembling in his hand. The beam glints off rusted French lettering. Ouvrage Simserhof, Ligne Maginot. Larkin frowns. "The Maginot Line? I thought the Krauts went around this thing years ago." The soldiers exchange glances. Most of them have only heard the name in passing. The French invincible wall that was supposed to stop Hitler in 1940. But it hadn't. The Germans simply went through Belgium, leaving these fortresses stranded and silent. Yet here it stands, untouched by 4 years of war, its gates sealed, its tunnels whispering through the rock like a sleeping giant. Larkin orders the engineers forward. With a metallic groan, the door gives way, releasing a breath of air cold and stale as a tomb. The beam of light cuts through darkness, and the men step inside. The first thing they notice is the silence. No birds, no echo of wind, only the hum of dripping water and the hollow clang of boots on steel. The tunnel slopes downward, deeper and deeper, until the daylight fades entirely. Then suddenly it opens into a vast chamber. A railway track snakes through the center, stretching into blackness. Along the walls, rooms, ladders, signs pointing to caserne, infirmary, cuisine. Private McMillan exhales, eyes wide. Jesus, they built a whole city under here. The captain nods slowly. A fortress underground. Section 2. The Forgotten Fortress. As the Americans fan out, their flashlights sweep over relics of another army. Bunks still made, helmets lined on racks, rusted rifles in perfect order. Dust blankets everything like snow, yet the place feels almost alive. On a table, someone finds an old newspaper. Le Matin, 1940. Headlines boast of French strength, of the unbreakable Maginot Line that would hold the Germans forever. Sergeant Carter lets out a low whistle. Guess nobody told them the war moved on. They press deeper. The electric cables, the rail switches, the ventilation shafts. Everything screams of precision and pride. These fortresses were built by the best French engineers between 1929 and 1938, carved into the Vosges and Ardennes mountains. Simserhof alone could house over 800 men, with underground hospitals, ammunition depots, even a mess hall serving hot meals through pneumatic lifts. Every inch of it designed to fight a siege that never came. The irony isn't lost on Larkin. They prepared for the last war, he mutters, thinking of the endless trenches of 1914, and lost the next one before it began. McMillan runs his hand over a wall map, lines of fortifications stretching from Luxembourg to Switzerland. He tries to imagine the men who built it, the pride of a nation trying to erase the humiliation of the Great War. The Maginot Line was more than concrete. It was France's promise that Verdun would never happen again. But promises don't stop tanks. In May 1940, the German Blitz bypassed this entire line through the Ardennes, the very forest the French thought impassable. Within weeks, the invincible wall was irrelevant. Many of these forts surrendered without firing a shot. And now in 1944, it's the Americans who rediscover them, ghosts in a concrete labyrinth, fighting another war across the same soil. The deeper they go, the stranger it becomes. Rooms untouched, food tins still stacked neatly, an eerie sense that the soldiers here simply vanished. Then McMillan spots something that chills him, a half-finished letter, still pinned to a desk. "À ma femme, Jeanne. Nous tiendrons ici. To my wife, Jean. We will hold here. The paper trembles in his hand as he whispers, Did they ever get out? Captain Larkin doesn't answer. They continue, guided now by a mix of awe and unease. Somewhere ahead, a faint metallic echo. Maybe water dripping, maybe something else. And then, light, dim and flickering, from a generator room still partially alive. The fortress breathes again. The hum grows louder as they near the generator room. Faint light spills across the corridor. Yellow, trembling, the color of an old photograph. Inside, a rusted diesel engine still sits beneath layers of dust and oil nearby. A control board of switches and gauges glints faintly in the beam of Captain Larkin's flashlight. Private Macmillan runs a finger over one of the dials. Sir, this thing could power a town. Larkin nods slowly, awe in his voice. That's exactly what it was. A town, just underground. He gestures toward the massive ventilation fans along the ceiling, the air ducts, the tracks that once carried armored trolleys. Every system had been built to sustain life, in war, sealed off from the outside world. The Maginot Line wasn't just a wall, it was a self-contained war machine. Underground barracks, command posts, artillery casemates that could rise and fire from concealed turrets, then retract like ghosts into the hillside. But now it's nothing but silence and memory. Macmillan's flashlight catches movement, just dust swirling in the beam. Yet for a moment it feels like the ghosts of men who once walked these tunnels still linger. Imagine being down here, he murmurs, waiting for a battle that never came. Sergeant Carter smirks. Better than fighting one that did. They press on toward the gun galleries, guided by faded French signs painted decades ago. When they reach the turret chamber, the air turns colder. Massive steel barrels, each still pointed toward the German border, rest motionless. The walls are scarred from practice fire. Nearby, spent shells litter the floor, left exactly as they were in 1940. Feels like time stopped, Carter mutters. Larkin approaches one of the gun mounts, places a hand on its cold steel. This was supposed to stop an invasion, he says. Instead, it became a monument to fear. He turns to the men. They thought if they buried themselves deep enough, they'd never have to see another war. Macmillan studies the long corridor vanishing into darkness. Guess they were wrong. A deep rumble shakes the ground above them. Distant artillery. The war is still raging overhead. The Battle of the Bulge is only weeks away, and the Maginot Line, once irrelevant, is again caught between armies. The captain looks toward the noise, listening. Come on, let's see where this goes. The men follow the rail line deeper into the fortress. As they move, the tunnel widens into an underground station, tracks branching off, signs for Block 5, ammunition lift, casemate Nord. Rusted rail carts still sit where they were abandoned, filled with shells that never fired. The air smells of iron, oil, and damp concrete. Macmillan pauses beside a mural painted on the wall. A fading tricolor flag, a motto beneath it. On ne passe pas. They shall not pass. He reads it aloud softly. The same words once shouted at Verdun. The same faith that drove France to carve this fortress from rock. Captain Larkin exhales. They believed it. And they still fell, Carter adds. Larkin doesn't reply. His flashlight sweeps across the mural again, the paint cracked and peeling. For the first time, the men understand. This place wasn't just a fortress. It was a wound, a monument to hope betrayed by history. They stand in silence for a moment, listening to the echo of water dripping through the tunnel, like a ticking clock, marking the seconds of a war that never stopped. Then from far ahead comes a sound none of them expect. A metallic clang, followed by the faint creak of a door. Carter grips his rifle. Sir, you hear that? The captain raises his hand for quiet. Another sound. Faint footsteps. Someone or something is still inside. The platoon moves silently through the tunnel, rifles raised, boots whispering on the cold concrete floor. Every sound echoes, every breath amplified by the cavernous dark. The air feels thicker now, heavy with the scent of oil and rust. Somewhere ahead, a metal door swings slowly on its hinges, the source of that haunting creak. Captain Larkin gestures to Carter and Macmillan. Flank left. Keep your safeties off. They nod and advance cautiously, flashlight slicing through the black. The beam catches a faded poster on the wall, a smiling French soldier from 1939. The words beneath almost mocking now. Ils ne passeront jamais. Carter reaches the door first. He pushes it open with the barrel of his rifle. Inside, their lights reveal a small command post. A single table, a rusted typewriter, a map of the Lorraine region pinned to the wall. Cigarette butts and coffee cups are still on the desk, untouched since the summer of 1940. And in the far corner, movement. Ho! Larkin barks, snapping his rifle up. But what steps into the light isn't a German soldier. It's an old man, uniform torn, insignia faded, eyes hollow and pale. His beard is white, his skin thin as parchment. He raises his hand slowly. Ne tirez pas. Don't shoot. The men freeze. Macmillan lowers his rifle a fraction. Jesus, sir. He's French. The man sways where he stands, trembling. Je suis Simserhoff. I stayed to watch. His voice cracks with age and exhaustion. The war ended, but the fortress never did. Larkin steps closer, careful, compassionate. You've been here since 1940? The old man nods weakly. After the surrender, the Germans came. They used our tunnels. Some of us fled, some stayed. I couldn't leave her. He glances at the walls, at the machinery, the corridors. She was my post, my home. The captain lowers his weapon completely. Around him, the soldiers exchange uneasy glances. This isn't an enemy. It's a ghost who forgot to stop living. Why stay? Macmillan asks softly. The old officer's eyes glisten. Because France built this to be eternal. They said the Maginot would protect us forever. And when she fell, we fell with her. He steps toward the table, places a trembling hand on the dusty map. You see this line? Every dot a fortress. Every one a promise. But promises crumble. The generator sputters somewhere deep in the complex, a dying heart still beating after years in the dark. Larkin looks around, absorbing the weight of the moment. He's right, he murmurs. This whole place, it's like France's grave. The old man turns to him, faintly smiling. No, Captain. Not a grave. A reminder. He gestures toward the distant corridor. The Germans came through Belgium. They never fought us here. All this steel, all this pride, useless. But it taught us something. Larkin frowns. What's that? That no wall can stop the future. Outside, thunder rolls across the hills, or maybe artillery from another battle. The men glance upward instinctively. The war isn't done, not yet. Larkin puts a hand on the old soldier's shoulder. We'll get you out of here. But the man shakes his head slowly. I will stay. Someone must remember. Someone must keep the light burning. For a moment, no one speaks. The old man turns back toward the machinery, switches a lever, and a faint hum echoes through the tunnels. A row of dim bulbs flickers to life, illuminating murals, pipes, walls carved by human hands and hope. The Americans watch in silence, a fortress once forgotten, breathing again. Larkin salutes quietly. Let's go, boys. They leave the old Frenchman in the glow of his steel cathedral. As they emerge from the tunnel into the cold November rain, daylight feels strange, thin, unreal after the darkness below. Macmillan looks back one last time at the hidden entrance, now swallowed by mist. Think anyone will ever come back here, sir? Larkin tightens his helmet strap. Someday, he says, when they remember what faith can build and what fear can bury. The wind carries the sound of distant guns, the war marching on. But beneath the earth, the fortress remains, silent and waiting, its halls whispering the same vow carved into its stone. On ne passe pas.